think that to combat the institution of white supremacy, we need all different kinds of ways of approaching. I don't think that there is one particular way of combating white supremacy. We need to use all of the tools at our disposal, and of course, the manual, the framework which is proposed by the 32 Steps to Togetherness is also one of those frameworks that we can use, but it cannot be the only framework because we're also dealing with structural issues. And I think that why community healing, bless you.
Thank you, sorry.
And I think that why community healing and community togetherness is an important tool, we also need to be able to confront those. I like using the, is it an anecdote? I mean, I don't know how to refer to it, but to make an omelette, you need to break an egg. And so sometimes it's you, and this is where I think that sometimes approaches like the 32 Steps to Togetherness, why they are important, cannot be the only tool. Sometimes we also need to say that, well, you are simply a racist, and you really need to work on yourself, and no amount of healing sometimes does that. So I think that this is where we really need a balance of different approaches. Of course, 32 Steps to Togetherness is one of those, but we also need other kinds of approaches.
So some may look at that and say the system is working. 62 people were charged for rioting. And some would say, no, it's not working because it was Muslim. They'll be charged under probably different sets of laws and not anti-terror laws. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that. And also, from a narrative perspective, does this also fuel the right-wing grievance narrative that, the two-tier system, these are white extremists who have been fast-tracked and prosecuted, whereas if it was Muslim or someone else, in their understanding, they probably would not have been prosecuted. So would that, in the long term, have a boomerang effect in the sense that it will impact on pro-Palestinian activists? There will be pressure on the government to prosecute pro-Palestinian activists. So there is that to consider. So yeah, just those two angles. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. I haven't got the latest figures with me. I should know things like that. But there's a lot more there's been a lot more convictions, I think, is how did the government's interpretation of the riots as being based in violent thuggery play out in the courts? Because if you look at the kind of things that the government said, it would see that the modus operandi for the riots was violent thuggery, not racist violence. It was like racist violence was a byproduct of attacking the police. But from our point of view, the whole purpose of the riots was to create a racist atmosphere and to go out and attack asylum seekers and mosques, etc. So most of the prosecutions so far have been for violent disorder. And that would have been the prosecutions against both the far right and Muslim communities who defended Muslims who defended the mosque, say, from who are just anti-fascists who might have got arrested as well. Because I agree that we do have to make a distinction between children going to the schools and say racist stuff. I mean, what are you meant to do with a 5 or a 6-year-old? Are we going to lock them up as well? They're getting these views from somewhere, and we can't just see punishment as the solution. So I think what sort of strikes me as a little bit worrying with prosecutions is that, there's a double standard here. There are people